The stars were quiet, as they always had been. But something stirred beyond the edge of known space. In the cold dark, a small alien scout ship drifted near the border of the old human territories. Its pilot, Commander Zelran of the Zarkan Empire, yawned as he checked his scanners. "Still nothing," he muttered. "Why do they even send us out here? The humans are gone." But just as he reached for his drink, the console beeped, soft at first, then faster. "What?" Zelran leaned forward. "This can't be right." A signal. Weak but real. A human signal. He stared at the data on the screen. HSS Vengeance. A name that hadn't been seen in 70 years. The flagship of the human fleet. The last ship to disappear. During the final war. "Impossible," he whispered. "We destroyed them. We destroyed all of them." Within hours, the news spread like fire through the Galactic Coalition. A meeting was called. The Supreme Hall of Peace, ironically named, was filled with fear. Leaders from all species sat together, their faces grim. High Chancellor Varric of the Drell species stood at the center. "We received confirmation," he said. "The Vengeance has returned." Gasps echoed across the chamber. "That ship was lost at the Battle of Exile," cried General Threx of the Gornak. "It was swallowed by the sun." "No," said an old voice. Everyone turned to see Elder Sharn, one of the oldest beings in the galaxy. His voice cracked, but his words were clear. "It did not die. It escaped." "What do you mean?" a younger alien asked. Sharn closed his eyes. "Humans were smarter than we believed. We betrayed them. We tricked them into peace talks, then destroyed Earth. But the Vengeance was not on Earth. It was in deep space. On a secret mission." General Threx pounded his fist. "It's just a ship. We have hundreds now." Sharn shook his head. "That ship was not ordinary. It carried something new, something unknown. Far from the Council, in a dark system. With no stars, the Vengeance drifted silently. Its hull was black as night, scarred from old battles. Its engines made no sound, but it was alive. Inside, there were no lights. No crew walking the halls. Just silence. A single figure sat on this bridge, a man. Old, with a scar down his cheek. His name was Captain Elias Vorn. He hadn't aged in decades. Not because of luck, but because of something else. He stared out into space, unmoving, until a soft voice spoke. "Captain, the Coalition has noticed us." The voice was not human. It came from the ship itself. "I know," Vorn said. "They're afraid. They should be. Will we attack?" The voice asked. Vorn stood. "No, not yet. Let them feel the silence first. Let them wonder." Back in Coalition space, panic spread. Military ships were deployed. Scanners reached out. But every time they looked for the Vengeance, it was gone. Like a ghost, one by one, listening posts vanished. No explosions. No warnings. Just silence. Admiral Grell of the Morvek fleet ordered a full investigation. He sent 3 warships to track the signal. Only one returned. The surviving ship was damaged, floating. The crew inside were all alive, but silent, refusing to speak. Doctors tried everything. Finally, one soldier whispered a single sentence before dying. "They're not human anymore." On the 3rd day, the Vengeance sent a message. It was a short, ancient human transmission. 4 words. "We remember your betrayal." The Coalition went into full alert. Fleets were called. Planets prepared for evacuation. The High Chancellor held a meeting behind closed doors. "They want revenge." Someone said. "No," Sharn replied. "They want us to remember." The Chancellor looked around the room. "Then what do we do?" "Pray," Sharn whispered, "and wait." Meanwhile, Captain Vorn walked through the halls of his ship. The walls pulsed softly, like they were alive. He stopped at a door. It opened, revealing rows of cryopods. Inside, sleeping humans, Children, scientists, soldiers, families, frozen before Earth's fall. Preserved for a second chance, the ship spoke again. Are we ready to wake them? Not yet, Vorn said. Not until the galaxy remembers what they did. One curious alien, a young researcher named Lyra, decided to dig into old human records. She traveled to an abandoned moon where old war files were hidden. What she found changed everything. Footage, unedited, untouched. It showed humans trying to negotiate peace, sending messages of unity, offering technology and trade. And then, betrayal. The Coalition, fearing human growth, had faked an attack, blamed it on Earth, then launched a surprise attack, destroying the planet in hours. Lyra dropped the data crystal. Her hands shook. They didn't start the war, she said aloud. We did. She rushed back to the council, presenting her findings. Some tried to deny it. Others wept. And all across the galaxy, whispers began. We're the humans. The good ones. The Vengeance stayed silent, watching, waiting. And then, it moved, not to attack but to orbit an old battlefield where millions had died. It projected a single image, a human child holding a flower. Behind her, Earth burned. The galaxy watched in silence. No threats. No weapons. Just memory. Finally, the Coalition made a choice. One by one, their ships lowered their weapons. Planets sent messages, not of fear, but of apology. And in the Hall of Peace, a monument was built. It had no name, just 4 words carved in stone. We remember your mercy. The Vengeance turned and left. Its engines lit up like a star, then vanished into the dark. Where it went, no one knew. But across the stars, one thing was now clear. Humanity was not gone. And they had not forgotten. The stars did not shine the same anymore. Since the return of the human supercarrier, HS Vengeance, fear spread across the galaxy like fire through dry grass. Entire planets stayed quiet, ships stayed in orbit, and leaders met in secret. In the deepest war chamber of the Galactic Coalition, High Chancellor Varric slammed his hands on the table. We must act now, he shouted. That ship is a threat. It moves through our space like a shadow. Our people are afraid to sleep. Across the table, General Threx remained silent. He stared at the glowing screen, which showed the same disturbing image again and again, a massive black ship, unmoving, but watching. It hasn't attacked, Threx finally said. Not once, yet, Varric snapped. You think that means peace? That ship survived a war 70 years ago. It should be space dust. A quiet voice interrupted them. It was Lyra, the young researcher who had exposed the truth about Earth's destruction. She stood with her hands behind her back. They're not here to destroy us, she said. They want us to remember what we did. General Threx looked at her. What do you suggest? Send a message. Not from the council, from someone real. Someone honest, the Chancellor frowned. You want us to beg? Lyra did not answer. She simply turned and left the room. Far above a dead moon, the Vengeance hovered like a sleeping giant. Silent, untouchable. Deep inside, Captain Elias Vorn stood on the bridge, staring out into nothing. Another drone is approaching, said the ship's AI voice. Let it scan, Vorn replied calmly. It will not return. I know. Back in Coalition space, 3 new drone ships were launched. They were fast, small, and built for stealth. Their mission was to scan the Vengeance and return with data. The first drone reached the target in 3 hours. It circled the ship silently, collecting images. Then it sent a message back. Vengeance is alive. Its energy output is rising. Technology unknown. But 1 second later, the drone vanished. No explosion. No signal. Just gone. The second drone tried a different approach. It stayed far back, hiding in the asteroid belt. The ship still noticed it. The drone's camera feed showed the Vengeance slowly turning. its dark body glowing with strange blue light, then static. Gone. The third drone never made it. It disappeared halfway through the trip. No one even knew where. Panic spread fast. In a small shipyard near the edge of Coalition space, Mechanic Core was repairing an old transport ship when the alarm rang. "What's happening?" he shouted. His assistant ran in, pale. "They say the Vengeance just blinked, vanished, and now it's in our system." Core dropped his tools. "What? That's impossible. It was light years away. Not anymore." Core ran outside. In the sky above, he saw a dark shape moving between the stars, without light, without sound. "It's watching us," he whispered. All around the galaxy, similar reports came in. No explosions. No demands. Just silence. And the silence was worse than war. A group of Coalition scientists gathered in a high-security lab. They watched all the data on the human ship. "We're looking at something beyond our science," said one scientist. "It moves like it folds space. No warp trails, no engine flares. Is it a ship or a god?" Someone whispered. The lead scientist turned pale. "This thing, it's learning." Meanwhile, Lyra stood on a balcony, staring up at the stars. She held a small transmitter in her hand. She clicked the button and began to speak. "This is Lyra, not a leader, not a soldier, just a voice. If you can hear me, we remember. Not all of us agreed with the war. Many of us were lied to. There was no answer. Just silence, but..." Far away, deep inside the Vengeance, a small light blinked. The ship had received the message, and for the first time in 70 years, the captain smiled. Back at the Coalition base, fear turned to chaos. Riots broke out on some worlds. People fled cities, thinking the end was near. Some soldiers deserted. Others froze, unable to sleep. On one mining planet, a patrol ship opened fire on its own command center, screaming, "They're already inside. We're next." The Coalition called it a mental virus. But deep down, they knew the truth. Fear was winning. In a private room, High Chancellor Virak spoke with General Threx. "We're losing control. The people need hope." Threx nodded. "Then give it to them." "How?" Threx stared at the screen, where the image of the Vengeance slowly moved through the void. "We show them that we're not afraid. We send a fleet." "You want to attack?" "No," Threx said. "We stand before it. Not with weapons raised, but heads held high. Let it see our fear and our courage." Soon, 10 Coalition ships were gathered. No weapons locked. No shields raised. They approached the Vengeance slowly, broadcasting peace signals. The Vengeance did not move. It just watched. One brave captain, Admiral Ness of the Valari, opened a direct channel. "This is Admiral Ness. We are not here to fight. We are here to face you." There was silence for a long moment. Then the screen on Ness's ship flickered. A human face appeared. Captain Elias Vorn. His voice was deep and calm. "You do not need to fear us," he said. "But you must never forget us." Then the screen went black. The Vengeance turned and moved into the stars again, slower this time. Almost respectful. The Coalition ships did not follow. They simply watched. Back in the council, Chancellor Virak sat alone in the chamber. Lyra walked in. "They didn't destroy us," she said. Virak nodded. "No, they wanted us to feel what they felt, the fear, the silence, the waiting. And did we?" Virak looked up at the stars through the glass ceiling. "Yes," he said, "and maybe now we begin to heal." From that day forward, a message was placed on every Coalition screen across the galaxy. 4 words: "Do not forget humanity." Because the stars no longer feared their weapons. They feared their silence. The galaxy held its breath. After the silent meeting between the Coalition fleet and the human Supercarrier, a heavy quiet spread like a cloud. No ships fired weapons. No alarms rang. But something was about to change. In the central command room of the Galactic Coalition, High Chancellor Virak stared at the massive screen. "We've waited," he said softly. "Now it's time." Suddenly, the screen flickered. Static at first, then a voice, old, deep, and calm. "We remember." The voice belonged to Captain Elias Vorn of the HSS Vengeance. The room fell silent. Then the message continued. "You betrayed us. You lied. You destroyed our home and left us to die. But we survived." Gasps echoed. Some aliens sat back in shock. Others clenched fists. General Threx slammed his hand on the table. "Enough words. Where are their demands? Their attacks?" Vorn's voice came again. "We do not seek war. We seek memory, justice, balance." Lyra, the young researcher, stepped forward. "Captain Vorn is telling the truth. We have the records. The humans were peaceful before the attack. We broke the peace." The Chancellor nodded slowly. "But what does justice mean now? How can we make peace with ghosts?" Far from the council chambers, the Vengeance orbited a ruined planet, long dead. On the ship's bridge, Vorn spoke with the AI. "Send the second part of the message," he said. The AI beeped. A new transmission was sent, but this time it wasn't just words. It was images. The Coalition's eyes widened as they saw the footage. It showed Earth before the attack. Bright cities, children playing, families laughing. Then the skies turned dark. Explosions, fire, buildings crumbling. And finally, a mother holding her child, whispering, "We did not deserve this." The screen went dark. The message was clear. An emergency meeting was called. The council debated. "Should we surrender?" asked one voice. "No," said another. "We must prepare. The humans have power we do not understand." "But they showed mercy," Lyra said quietly. General Threx shook his head. "Mercy? Or a trap?" Outside the meeting, the galaxy was restless. Planets lit their skies with prayers. Ships scrambled. Spy networks worked overtime. Everyone waited for the next move, but the Vengeance stayed silent. One night, in a quiet room, a small group of aliens gathered around a hologram. Lyra spoke softly. "The humans are sending us a warning, a chance to change. But how?" asked a young alien. "By remembering." Suddenly, the hologram flickered. A new message played. "Remember Earth," Vorn's voice said. "Remember mercy. Or prepare to lose everything." The room went dark. The next day, the Coalition's greatest scientists met in secret. "We must find out how they survived," one said. "How did they build that ship? How do they control it?" asked another. A scientist whispered. "They are different now, not just humans. Something more." Meanwhile, on the Vengeance, Captain Vorn looked at the stars. "Let them understand," he said. "Let them feel the weight of what they did." The ship hummed softly. It waited. Back in the council, Virak looked at Lyra. "We may have started a war we cannot stop." She nodded. "But maybe it's not a war of weapons." "Then what?" "A war of memory." Outside, the stars blinked. The galaxy held its breath. The message had been sent, and the real test was yet to come. A thick silence floated through the galaxy. The human supercarrier, HS Vengeance, had sent its message. 4 words, cold, sharp, echoing across every corner of known space. "We remember your betrayal." After that, the ship disappeared from sensors. Again, no one knew where it had gone, but everyone knew it hadn't gone far, and everyone was watching the stars. In the war room of the Galactic Coalition, the atmosphere was tense. General Threx stood in front of the star map. "The Vengeance is moving between sectors without using any known engine. No warp trails, no radiation," he said, pointing at the red dots blinking across the screen. "They're showing us they can appear anywhere, anytime." High Chancellor Virak stared at the screen. "Then why haven't they attacked yet?" "They're waiting," Threx replied. "Watching." They want us afraid, muttered another officer. Varric shook his head. No, they want us to understand. Lyra stepped forward. They're reminding us that they're still here, still human, and still powerful. Across the galaxy, strange things began to happen. A mining colony on the moon of Kalros reported. A black shape hovering above their atmosphere. No weapons fired. No communication. The shape remained for 5 hours, then vanished. A deep space cargo freighter passed through an asteroid belt and saw what looked like wreckage, only to realize the pieces were forming a message: do not repeat history. Then all the debris vanished in seconds. People began to panic. Some governments tried to calm their citizens, saying the humans were just bluffing. But fear grew. Whispers spread. They're not just humans anymore. They don't breathe like us. They don't even speak unless they want to be heard. On the bridge of the HSS Vengeance, Captain Elias Vorn stood in silence. He watched as distant planets came into view, then disappeared behind the ship's smooth, black hull. They're afraid, the eye said quietly. They should be, Vorn replied, but not of us, of what they did. The eye asked, and what if they still don't understand? Vorn's face hardened. Then they'll learn. In Sector 19, a coalition warship detected the Vengeance near one of its defense outposts. The captain, Yara, young and bold, saw the readings on her screen. We have the target, she said. Permission to intercept. Her second in command hesitated. Admiral ... The last fleet that approached never came back. This is different. We're prepared. They launched. 3 advanced fighters sped toward the Vengeance, weapons ready. As they closed in, their systems began to fail. Power, lights, weapons, all shut down. Inside one fighter, a pilot screamed, "I've lost everything. I can't move." Then, the darkness surrounded them. A few seconds later, the fighters floated back, gently, like toys tossed into space. All pilots were alive, but each one sat in silence, not moving, not speaking. Back on the coalition base, doctors examined the survivors. One doctor said, "They're not injured. No signs of damage, but their minds." The first pilot finally spoke after hours of silence. His voice was quiet, broken. They looked at me, not with eyes, with something else. "What did you see?" asked the doctor. The pilot whispered, "Earth burning, children crying, and one word: mercy." Then he went silent again. In the council chamber, panic turned into fear-driven planning. "We cannot just sit and watch," Threx roared. "They're inside our systems, our ships, our minds. And yet," Varric said calmly, "they have not harmed anyone." "Yet," Lyra stood. "Firing first would be the greatest mistake we could make. They've already shown us what they can do." "What do you suggest then?" someone asked. "Listen, watch, wait," she said. "We need to understand what they truly want," Threx growled. "They want revenge." "No," Lyra replied. "They want memory. And they want silence to speak louder than our weapons ever did." Days passed. Then, the galaxy received a new signal. It wasn't a message. Not in words. It was a broadcast of Earth's final day. Every screen, every ship, every planet showed the same thing: humans running, screaming, holding onto each other as the skies rained fire. The Coalition's weapons had destroyed Earth completely. At the end of the footage, one final image stayed frozen for 10 seconds. A small human girl holding a white flower, her face dirty with ash, tears in her eyes. Then everything went black. The galaxy changed after that. Some soldiers dropped their weapons and walked away. Some commanders resigned. Some civilians started placing white flowers on their homes. Message passed between them all: "We remember with you." Back aboard the Vengeance, Captain Vorn received the data. He watched 1,000 ships across the galaxy power down, watched leaders speak publicly of the betrayal, watched a small alien child On a world Vorn had never seen, place a flower on a monument that read, "For Earth, for peace." Vorn closed his eyes. "They're listening," he whispered. The AI spoke. "Then what is our next move?" "We wait," Vorn said, "until they speak for themselves." But not all were ready for peace. In the dark shadows of the coalition, a secret fleet began to move. A rogue commander, angry and afraid, whispered to his team, "They want us to kneel. I say we strike first." His fleet powered up. Unseen. And the silence that humanity had given was about to be broken. The library was forgotten. It sat on the cold moon of Harith 9, buried under rocks and ice, silent for decades. No ships visited, no lights blinked. But inside, it still held truth sealed in old human files, untouched by war, untouched by lies. Until today, Lyra stood outside the entrance, her breath fogging her helmet glass. Beside her, a small robot drone scanned the old door. "Almost through," it beeped. "The lock is primitive." "Good," Lyra said. "That means the coalition never wiped it." She had come alone. No guards, no council orders. Just a feeling deep in her bones that something was missing from the story, something no one remembered. Back in coalition space, High Chancellor Varric sat in his dark office, watching silent footage of the vengeance. Again and again. The human ship floated like a shadow, never firing, never speaking, but always watching. "We need answers," he whispered. "Then maybe stop hiding the truth," came a voice from the corner. Varric turned. It was Threx. The general stepped into the light. "She went to Harith 9. You knew that, didn't you?" Varric didn't answer. Threx took a deep breath. "If she finds what I think she will... It's over." On Harith 9, the drone clicked. Door open. Lyra stepped inside. Dust covered everything. Old screens, cracked chairs, empty hallways. She walked past rusted doors until she reached the back vault. The drone lit up a small panel. Records intact, human origin. Lyra placed her hand on the scanner. The room came to life. Screens blinked. Lights flashed. Files opened. And history poured out. She sat down, reading. Video logs, audio files. Official. Reports from the last human council. She read about Earth's final days, but it wasn't what she expected. "Play file, day 117. She said. A man appeared on the screen, human, dressed in a military uniform. His face was calm, but his eyes were tired. "This is Commander Yalen Cross," he said. "Earth has offered peace again today. The coalition refuses to answer." He looked off camera. "We know they fear us, but we don't want war. We want to share, to grow." He paused. "They're coming. We don't have much time." The screen glitched. Lyra leaned forward. "No. Play the next one." She played the final file. This time, it showed Earth skies, coalition ships raining fire down, humans screaming, hospitals burning, a child holding a white flower, and a woman's voice. "We never fired first." Lyra froze. "They were telling the truth," she whispered. "We ... started everything." She downloaded the files, every last one. As she stepped outside, her drone beeped again. Incoming ship. Not coalition. Lyra looked up and saw it. The Vengeance. It hovered silently. A black shadow in the gray sky. Her radio clicked. A calm voice spoke. "You found it." Lyra stared, eyes wide. "Captain Vorn?" "Yes," came the voice. "You've seen what we wanted them to see. Now it's your turn to decide what happens next." I want peace," she said. "So did we." And then the ship vanished, gone without a sound. Back at Coalition headquarters, alarms rang. Unknown fleet entering the outer system. A soldier yelled. 30 ships, unregistered signals. Chancellor Varric ran to the window. "Who are they?" No response, but they look human. The officers stared at the screen. A fleet of sleek, silent ships moved toward them. Then a message played, not a voice, a recording. The one Lyra found. Earth begged for peace. Earth was burned. For silence. But silence is not the same as weakness. On the ground, civilians gathered near broadcast towers. The truth played across every screen, every speaker. Some cried. Some stared in horror. Others shouted. They lied to us. They used us. The coalition had no control. The truth was loose, and it burned hotter than any weapon. Varric stood before the council, hands shaking. They know now, he whispered. Threx nodded. You buried the truth for 70 years. You thought they were dead. I thought we had won. Threx shook his head. No, we never even deserved to survive. Later. That night, Lyra returned to Coalition space. She brought the files. The full truth. In front of millions. She stood in the Galactic Hall and said only one thing. We killed peace. The silence that followed was heavier than war. In a dark corner of the galaxy, the vengeance drifted quietly. Inside, Captain Vorn stood on the bridge. The truth is out, said the AI. Let's see what they do with it. Vorn replied, and for the first time in 70 years, the ship changed direction, not toward war, but toward hope. Maybe. The stars felt colder than ever. Inside the Grand Coalition Hall, silence gripped the crowd like a chain. Leaders, soldiers, and citizens stared at the screen, showing the message that had shaken the galaxy. We killed peace. The truth was now public. The files Lyra found on Harith 9, the video logs, the audio, the final pleas of humanity were real. Earth hadn't started the war. Earth had begged for peace. The coalition had lied, and now the humans were back. No one moved. Then the doors opened. General Threx walked into the room, wearing his full armor. People whispered, stepped back. His face was hard, but his eyes were tired. He reached the center stage. The fleet of human ships is not attacking, he said calmly. They wait at our borders. Someone from the back shouted. Then why are they here? Threx looked around the room. Judgment. The word echoed. In orbit, the human fleet waited in perfect silence. Their ships were unlike anything the coalition had seen before, dark, sharp, elegant. Each one moved like it was alive. Not one responded to hails. Not one powered up weapons. They just waited. Captain Vorn stood on the bridge of the Vengeance, watching the chaos below. Still no answer from the coalition? Ask the I. They're scared, Vorn replied. Good, they should be, but you haven't given the order to fire. Because this isn't about destruction, Vorn said. It's about truth. Let them choose. Meanwhile, Lyra sat inside a prison cell. They arrested her the day she returned with the files. For causing panic, they said. For leaking classified history. She didn't argue. She just sat there calm as people outside screamed for answers. Then, the door opened. It was Threx. You're being released, he said. Why now? She asked. He hesitated. Because the people believe you more than they believe us now. Lyra stood. Then let me speak. Hours later, in front of a galaxy-wide broadcast, Lyra stood on the same stage where the lie began. She looked into the cameras. Her voice didn't shake. 70 years ago, Earth asked for peace, she said. The coalition answered with fire. Behind her, screens played the old human recordings again. Commander Yalin Cross. The crying children, the final moments of Earth. Now, Lyra continued, they've returned. Not to conquer, but to judge. People across hundreds of planets watched. Many cried. Others grew angry. Some called for justice. Some called for war. But everyone wanted one thing. The truth. That night, the Coalition Council held a private meeting. Varric was there, pale, shaking. Others argued, we must fight. We must surrender. We must talk. Then a soft voice cut through the noise. It was Lyra. I have a message, she said. From the human fleet. She placed a small, black device on the table. It lit up. A hologram appeared. "Captain Vorn, Coalition leaders," he began. "You have one choice. Face judgment. Or continue the lie." He stepped closer in the projection. "You destroyed our world. You erased our name. You built your empire on our ashes." Then he raised one hand. "Now we ask not for revenge. But for truth." The message ended. Back in orbit, the Vengeance waited. A single small coalition ship approached. No weapons. Just a white flag signal. Inside it, Lyra and Threx sat silently. "Are you sure about this?" Threx asked. "No," Lyra said. "But we owe them this." The shuttle. Lyra stepped into the human ship. Two guards met her, tall, armored, silent. They walked her through long metal halls until she reached a wide chamber. "Captain Vorn stood at the center. You brought a general," he said, looking past her. "I brought a witness," Lyra replied. Threx stepped forward. "I gave the orders. I believed the lie." "And now?" Vorn asked. "I don't know what to believe," Threx said. "But I know what we did was wrong." Vorn nodded slowly. "Then maybe there's hope," he said. The next day, something strange happened. The human fleet sent no warning, no threat. Instead, they sent files. To every coalition planet. Files from Earth's archives. Music, science, art, messages of peace, messages of hope, records of a world now gone. It was beautiful, and it hurt, because it showed the galaxy what they had destroyed. Not monsters, not enemies, but a civilization that only wanted to share. Some coalition worlds fell into chaos. Protests exploded. Statues of old leaders were torn down. Soldiers refused orders. On one distant mining colony, a group of workers burned a coalition flag and raised one made of Earth's colors, blue and green. Everywhere, the same word appeared: justice. Inside the coalition's grand court, the first official trial of war crimes began. Varric was the first to stand. Lyra sat quietly in the crowd. Varric's voice trembled as he spoke. "We lied," he said. "We feared humanity. So we destroyed them before they could rise." He lowered his head. "I do not expect forgiveness, but I ask for truth to remain. Don't bury it again." In orbit, the human fleet prepared to leave. Captain Vorn stood once more on the bridge. "Are they ready?" asked the I. "No," Vorn said. "But they're starting. Then why not stay?" "Because this wasn't about staying," he replied. "This was about waking them up." The fleet engines glowed. The Vengeance turned its course, and just before it jumped into the dark of space, one final message echoed across the stars. "We are not your enemies. We never were." The stars above Coalition World Serathis glowed red that morning. Red, like warning lights. Red like blood. Across the capital, sirens wailed. Screens on every building flashed the same message: a human ship has entered orbit. Not a fleet. Just one. But it was enough to shake the entire planet. Inside the Coalition Council chamber, chaos broke loose. Leaders screamed at each other. "They're back. Why now? Just one ship. What do they want?" General Threx stood quietly in the corner, watching. He had seen the Vengeance. He had stood before Captain Vorn. This was no random visit. It meant something. On the main screen in the council chamber, the human ship hovered above the atmosphere, long, dark, silent. Then, without warning, a message appeared. A simple voice. Calm and clear. "We request one audience, no weapons. No threats, one bow, one truth." Everyone looked at each other, confused. "A bow?" someone whispered. "What does that mean?" No one had the answer, but Threx understood. That night, the Coalition prepared for the landing. In the center of Serathis stood a massive arena built for public events. It could hold 1,000,000 beings. It would be full, because the humans had made a request. The entire coalition leadership, present in one place, openly, publicly. For judgment, for peace. No one knew, but the galaxy would watch. The next morning, the air was thick with tension. Shadows of the past still hung over everyone. Lyra stood near the edge of the arena, wearing a simple white coat. She watched as citizens, soldiers, scientists, and even children gathered, whispering. "They won't attack," she said to the reporter beside her. "If they wanted war, we'd already be dead." "Then what are they doing?" the reporter asked. Lyra's eyes didn't move from the landing pad. "They're making us look in the mirror." At exactly noon, the sky opened. The human ship descended slowly. Engines whisper quiet. A long ramp unfolded. From it, a single figure walked out. Tall, armored, calm. It was not Captain Vorn. It was someone older, wiser. An old man, his face worn by time, but eyes burning with purpose. He walked alone. No guards. No weapons. Just silence. The crowd didn't cheer. They didn't scream. They held their breath. The old human stopped in the center of the arena. A microphone stood before him. He looked around, taking in every face, every whisper, every trace of fear. Then he spoke. "My name is Elias Cross. I am the last surviving son of Earth's leadership." People froze. That name, Cross, the same family name from the Earth files. Commander Yalan Cross, the man who had begged for peace before the first strike. "My father died asking for mercy," Elias said. "He died unheard." His voice was erased. He took a slow breath. "Today I came to finish his message." Lyra stepped forward, tears in her eyes. She whispered, "He looks just like the videos. Threx narrowed his eyes. "He's not here to fight." No one moved. Elias looked up toward the cameras flying above. "To the galaxy," he said. "We asked nothing but truth. We were not perfect, but we were not the monsters the Coalition made us out to be." He looked directly at the Coalition Council sitting high above the arena. "You destroyed our world, lied to your people, built an empire on silence." Gasps echoed. Varek, once the most powerful voice in the council, sat with his head low. "But today," Elias said, "we will not punish. We will not kill. We do not need to." He stepped back. "Instead, we ask for one thing." He looked straight at the council. "Bow." Silence, a single word. Heavy, simple, terrifying. "Bow?" One of the younger leaders asked. "He wants us to kneel?" Another hissed. "No, he wants something more," Threx whispered. "He wants a sign of truth. A sign that we accept what we did," the council murmured. Fear spread. "This is shame. This is surrender." "No, it's healing," Lyra said, stepping into the center. Elias turned to her. "Lyra," he said gently, "you remember me?" She asked. "You saved the truth," he replied. "You saved everything." Then he turned back to the council. It happened slowly. One by one, ordinary people in the stands stood up. Then they bowed. A woman in a nurse's uniform, a soldier missing an arm, a child holding a flag that was half Coalition, half Earth. They bowed. And then more rows and rows, until the entire arena bent in silence. Lyra felt her heart break, not from pain, but from release. Up above, the council still sat. Until Threx stood. He walked to the front, faced the crowd, and bowed. A pause. Then Varric followed, tears in his eyes. The rest joined, one after another. The galaxy watched as the leaders of the greatest empire in the stars lowered their heads to the last son of Earth. Elias stood silently, eyes full. "I do not bow back," he said. "Not out of pride, but because my people are gone." A whisper of grief passed through the air. "But today, for the first time, I believe they are not forgotten." He looked toward the sky, and maybe somewhere in the stars, there, watching, Elias turned and walked back to the ship. No speech. No warning. No threat. Just a single message left behind, glowing on every screen. Truth is not a weapon. It is a mirror. Face it. As the ship rose into the sky and disappeared, Lyra stood in the quiet arena. Around her, people cried, hugged, held hands. No. War had come. No fire, but something greater had arrived. A reckoning, a healing, and one quiet, final bow that would change the galaxy forever. The stars were quiet again. The galaxy had changed. The human supercarrier Vengeance was gone, vanished beyond the edge of known space. Its message had been delivered, the truth spoken, the bow given, but the echoes of that moment did not fade. In a small, dark room aboard a Coalition scout ship, Captain Yara stared at her screen. The signal was weak, distorted, a faint pulse coming from deep beyond the void. "Captain, we're picking up something," said her navigator, voice tense. "A distress signal, but old." Yara leaned closer. "Old how?" "Decades, maybe a century," he answered. "From the direction the humans left." "Can we trace it?" The navigator shook his head. "It's too weak. It's fading fast." Yara's eyes narrowed. "Prepare to follow it, quietly." Meanwhile, on the Coalition capital world, Lyra sat in the archive room. She ran her fingers over old records, maps, star charts, human logs. A sudden knock made her jump. It was Threx. "I need you," he said, urgency in his voice. "What is it?" "There's a rumor, something beyond the void, a human signal." Lyra's heart quickened. "They might still be out there," she whispered. Yara's ship moved slowly, leaving Coalition space behind. The stars stretched endlessly before them, black and cold. "Captain," the navigator said, "the signal is getting stronger." Yara felt a chill. "Steady. Let's hope it's a message, not a trap." Far away, in the silence of space, a small ship drifted. It was old, damaged, but alive. Inside, a single human sat in the pilot's seat, an aged man, his face tired, eyes filled with memories. He pressed a button. "Send the signal again," he said softly. "Why now?" asked the I voice. "Because they must never forget." Back on Yara's ship, the signal grew clearer. Suddenly, a face appeared on the screen. The old man. "Who are you?" Yara asked. "I am Captain Yalan Cross," he said. "Commander Cross? But you were lost in the war." "I survived," he said quietly. "I hid beyond the void." "Why send this now?" "Because the galaxy must remember. The pain, the truth, the cost." Lyra arrived at the command center as the message played across every screen. People stopped, listened, watched. "Not all of us died," the message said. "Not all of us forgot. We wait. We watch." A child's voice whispered through the static. "Peace must live." Back on the scout ship, Yara looked at the coordinates. "This changes everything." The captain's voice was firm. "We bring them home." The galaxy was silent once more, but in that silence, hope lived. And somewhere beyond the stars, echoes in the void promised a future reborn.